Okay, ladies, welcome to week 2. I will say that the content in week 2 is probably the most fundamental concepts of Excel. We're going to be doing a number of mathematical computations. So let's take a look at what the chapter topics are for chapter 2. Section 2.1 is about formulas. Section 2.2 is about statistical functions. You'll be using the average function, the min function, the max function, and the count function, in addition to the sum function that you've already utilized in chapter 1. You'll be using some finance functions, in particular the payment function, where you can calculate payments of different loan amounts. And then we'll be talking about some additional printing options where you can create a custom footer, date, and file name on that custom footer for when you print out your Excel spreadsheet. So I wanted to identify some of the best practices that one would use for Excel. So first off, the book may feel like you're not sure why you're selecting and putting in different formulas and whatnot, because you're doing everything through the book step by step by step. But the truth is, if you were to plan out a spreadsheet from the very beginning, the first thing you would do is plan it in your head perhaps, and then sketch it out on a piece of paper so that you know what you're trying to achieve first. So I'm going to be going through the example problem first with you so that you can see how from a higher level what the different steps are within the spreadsheet. You should always use calculations wherever you can, wherever it's possible, as opposed to calculating something on the side and then entering in the value. Let Excel do that heavy lift for you. Whenever you're doing calculations, you want to refer to cell contents within a calculation instead of using an actual value. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a little bit. You should be aware of the mathematical order of precedence. So what does that mean? There is a specific sequence of steps that any mathematical calculation will happen. And you may have heard this saying as you went through different math classes. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So the P is the first thing that would happen. So anything that's in a parenthesis would happen first. Excuse represents exponent. Anything that is raised to a power would happen next. Any multiplication or division would happen after that, and any addition or subtraction would happen after that. So Excel follows the mathematical order of precedence. So it will always read from left to right in a cell or in a formula, and anything that's in parentheses it will do first. Then it'll look for exponents, then any multiplication or division, and addition or subtraction. So I will show you an example of where that's really important to keep in mind. And then the fundamental thing that you'll find out in this chapter is whenever you're doing any kind of calculations always start with an equal sign. That's the trigger that tells Excel that you are creating a calculation, and I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. And then any functions that we're using follows the same syntax. So the syntax for functions will always be equals. As I said, remember we always start some kind of calculation with an equal sign. So it's equals the name of the function, open parentheses, the arguments of the function, and close parentheses. So that will make more sense in a couple of minutes. Okay, so you'll be working through the example problem In the chapter, it starts off by downloading the workbook, Chapter 2, ch2data.xlsx. You can download that directly from your textbook. And that workbook, once you have downloaded, is made up of 4 worksheets. The budget summary worksheet, the budget detail worksheet, the mortgage payments worksheet, and the car lease payments worksheet. So you'll be doing calculations on each of those sheets, and then we'll be connecting the details from the individual sheets back up onto that budget summary sheet.